Hey guys, welcome back to Top 10 Gaming. I'm Ron Mackenzie Lafergie. Sonic has some awesome games and some not so awesome games. Kelly and I have thrown some serious shade to some games on this channel, but it's often in the name of comedy. There are some games that get hate that aren't actually as bad as they're made up to be. Hopefully this video will mend some of those broken bridges and maybe even inspire some of you to give a game a chance to see if it's up your alley. And as always, please remember that this is totally subjective. If you enjoy this video, let us know by throwing us a thumbs up down below, and if you want more, check out our video on the top 10 inappropriate Pokemon. But before you do that, get ready, it's time for the top 10 underrated Sonic games. Number 10, Sonic 06. Okay. Here's the thing, Sonic 06 was not good. There were just too many problems with it even though it had amazing potential. We even have a video about how it's the worst Sonic game ever, but it's fine. It's fine. It's not a work of art, but when a game is rated so incredibly poorly, it's pretty hard for it not to be underrated. Some people even quite like the game, so this one, despite its many flaws, definitely isn't as bad as it's made out to be. But it's pretty bad. Number 9. Sonic the Hedgehog. The original game is highly praised by older Sonic players who were around at the time, but a lot of younger Sonic fans haven't played it. I get it, newer games have better graphics and are more ironed out, but I'd highly advise giving it a try if you haven't already. Sure, there are a few bugs that have since been ironed out, like the spikes, but it's a great game in its own right, and it kind of feels like you traveled through time. Number 8. Sonic CD. If the original game is underrated, then Sonic CD definitely is. It's another case of younger players not being inclined to go back and play older games, but since Sonic CD is widely seen as superior to the original game, it's even more underrated. And it was pretty darn game-changing, viewed by many as a more attractive and faster version of the original game. It really set the stage for future games, and it's too bad it's slept on by so many people, even if it does get a lot of love in message boards. Number 7. Sonic R. Released in 1997 for the Sega Saturn, Sonic R is often considered among the worst Sonic games out there, but I don't think it's quite as bad as people say. Sure, the graphics were lousy, sure the controls weren't the best, sure there were only 5 tracks to race on, but it was still pretty fun. Plus the soundtrack, as always, was pretty darn awesome. Now, is it as good as Mario Kart? No. But is it as good as Diddy Kong Racing or Crash Team Racing? Well, probably not. But it's still totally passable, which flies in the face of all the fans who basically call it the devil incarnate. It's mediocre, but it's not the worst thing ever. Number 6. The Sonic Advance Trilogy. The Sonic Advance Trilogy isn't particularly hated like some other members of this list. People just don't really think it's particularly good. But it is! Games were kinda overshadowed by Sonic Adventure 2, and really, that game was so good I don't blame people for sleeping on the Advance series, but stop sleeping! They were pretty great games, plus they were the first Sonic games to go over to Nintendo, which let Nintendo players finally get their hands on the blue blur. These games were huge in Sonic's shift from 2D to 3D, plus they're pretty darn fun. Number 5. Sonic Shuffle. Sonic Shuffle came out in 2000 for the Dreamcast, and it is one Sonic game that goes almost completely under the radar. I hardly ever see it mentioned, and I find that to be sad. And was it a shameless copy of Mario Party? Sure, but it was still pretty fun. Some complain that there aren't a ton of games and that some of them aren't the best, but let's be real, the Mario Party games have some serious stinkers in their repertoire as well. The other big complaint about the game is that the AI in the game is way too good, and there I can't really disagree, but if you like a challenge, it's a pretty great game. Number 4. Sonic the Hedgehog 4, Episode 1. Oh boy. So this one is largely referring to the Sonic Retro community, although the game does get hate elsewhere too. Sonic 4 had a lot of games really excited, and as often happens in an echo chamber of fans who are super excited, expectations were absurdly high over at Sonic Retro. Even before the game came out, people were just crapping all over it based on a few leaked videos, and it got pretty ridiculous to the point where the mods had to just wipe a bunch of posts. And it only got worse on release, with some fans purchasing the original game instead in protest. Now, I totally agree that Sega hyped it up way too much as the successor to the original games, but just because it didn't live up to the insane expectations doesn't mean it was a terrible game. It wasn't great, but it wasn't nearly as bad as some claim it to be. Number 3. Sonic Unleashed. Sonic Unleashed gets a lot of crap nowadays, and I don't really get why. The story was nice, the graphics were really good for the time, the soundtrack had some of the best songs of any game ever. It's great. Not only that, people often diss the Werehog for some reason, I guess because of the whole stop changing my game mentality that made people hate the Shadow game. More on that later. But the Werehog is so cool. I don't know, man, this one's way better than a lot of people think. Number 2. Sonic and the Black Knight. Sonic and the Black Knight is one I've talked about quite a few times, and it's quite underrated in the community. Some people hate on it just because Sonic has a sword, but I think by now you know how I feel about people complaining about change. The motion controls also aren't the most popular, and I get that, but for some people it makes it feel like you're really part of the game. Sure, I might be biased because I just love fantasy and swords so much, but while researching this video I came upon others who agree, so there. Swords rock. Number 1. Shadow the Hedgehog. This one kind of blows my mind. Now, I'm a big Shadow fan and thought the Shadow game was pretty cool, but a lot of people disagree. A lot. And they found it to be too much of a departure from Sonic, with the guns and vehicles largely deemed stupid. This caused it to be looked down upon by many, but I disagree. Now, I think it's fun to change things up a bit, and a bit of cussing never killed anyone. The only real problem, in my opinion, is the controls, but you get used to them eventually. Give it a try if you always took the reviews for granted, because you might like it. That's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please smack that thumbs up button and subscribe to Top 10 Gaming for more videos. Make sure to let me know what your favorite game is and if you like any of these underrated games. And check out our Top 10 Sonic playlist for more videos like this one. Until next time, I'm Ron Mackenzie LaFergie with Top 10 Gaming. Later, gamers.